Would it make you a jerk if you broke up with someone but then kept their Nintendo account information? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for telling my family to respect that I recycle in my own home? It's a community rule and one I respect. My sister was over visiting, and it was the day that trash and recycling are put out for the next day pickup. We have weekly trash and bi-weekly recycling pickup. As I was gathering the recycling, my sister yanked it out of my hands and threw it in the trash, saying, "You don't have to recycle." I told her we recycle in this house and it's your prerogative to recycle or not on your own home, but it's a community regulation. She called me a stupid butt and stormed out in a huff. Am I the jerk? I'll never accept that I was and still continue to recycle. Unfortunately, my town used to have us keep cardboard, paper, glass, and metal separate, but now has it all tossed together. A local news station put air tags on recycling, and only a small fraction made it to a recycling facility. So maybe I am a jerk for continuing to recycle? Callie the Blaze responded, "Not the jerk. The hard truth is that recyclable plastic is far less recyclable than we've been told. So no matter what you do, much of that is going in the landfill somewhere. We just used to pay countries like China to claim they recycled it, when really they just made their own dumps. But that doesn't mean recycling is pointless. Even if only 10% gets recycled, that's 10% less in the landfill or worse. If you care about the issue, start writing letters and making phone calls to whatever body is in charge of the recycling. City government, HOA, about how the current recycling pickup company isn't getting enough of the recycling actually recycled, and you want to see a change to a better vendor who recycles a higher percentage of it. You may need to do a local campaign to teach people to prep their recycling. Dirty or contaminated materials are a big impediment to recycling, especially paper recycling. They might need to go back to separated waste. They might do better with a system like the garbage company in my neighborhood as a child, where everything went in the trash, but it was put on a conveyor belt and recyclables were picked and prepped for the process. Yep, it meant higher garbage collection bills, but we had what was then considered an excellent rate of recycling. Also, hi, my name is Brendan, and if you are enjoying these Am I the Jerk videos, it would be so awesome if you dropped a like or left a comment if you're listening to our podcast. That being said, our next story is, am I the jerk for calling out my partner taking credit for paying a restaurant bill when he paid on our joint account? So we, me, female 53, and my partner, male 57, took our collective kids out for dinner tonight. My partner paid the bill and, as usual, paid on our joint account. He sometimes picks the bill up himself, but more often it's the joint account that gets used. On the way home, his daughter and her boyfriend made a point of thanking him directly for the meal, and he acknowledged, saying something along the lines of, "You're welcome," or "No problem." I didn't say anything in front of the kids, but when home, I checked he'd used the joint account. And when he confirmed he had, I asked why he'd not corrected the kids that it wasn't just him that had paid. He went off at me for ruining a good night and that I was being picky about paying the bill, completely missing my point. My point wasn't about money, it was about him taking the credit and not correcting the kids. I just see that as a common courtesy. He sees me as being unreasonable and bringing up something best left unsaid. So am I the jerk here? Should I have just let it go? Participant responded, "You're the jerk, at least from my many years married point of view. When we take the kids, siblings, whoever, out to dinner, we always use our joint card, and whichever one of us pays doesn't matter. When whoever we've bought dinner for says thank you, the response is simply, 'You're welcome.' Not, 'Don't just thank me, it's a joint account, so thank him too.' You're being too sensitive here." Panic at the Gaslight replied, "I would have agreed with you if they were OP's kids, but they're not OP's kids, and that makes a huge difference. OP isn't too sensitive. She raised a valid issue with her husband in private, and instead of saying, 'Oh, sorry, you're right, I'll be more cognizant of that going forward,' he decided to get crappy with OP about it. Husband is 100% the jerk here." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not knowing my girlfriend wanted to be 30 minutes early to yoga? For context, my girlfriend is getting her yoga certifications and is hosting a free class for the public today, so the night before I went to bed understanding that we just had to be there before 10 a.m., so I went on a morning walk with my buddy, who just had a baby, to grab a coffee and stroll his daughter around. I left the house at 8:30 a.m., dressed ready for yoga so we could leave when I got back. Come 9:20, she's starting to text me and I can notice she's starting to freak out and asking where I'm at. But I was confused because I knew I had enough time to get back home and drive to the studio. I start rushing back home, but I get texts on the walk back saying stuff like, "How could you do this to me? I'm so stressed out," and other things of the sort, but get back at 9:35ish to hop in the car and go. While on the car ride, she's crying and saying stuff like, "Why can't you think? This is like a job interview. I needed to be there 30 minutes early," and that I'm throwing her teaching rhythm off. But I had no idea she needed any of that, and says I need to be assumptive of her needs while she framed this as a casual yoga event. I was also thrown off since I didn't start the class until 11:45 and she had to be there earlier, so the ask of just getting there before 10 seemed like that already allotted for the prep time she'd need beforehand. We get there at 9:50 and she's still crying and asking, "Why can't you just think?" And I tell her that I really had no idea of the additional requirements and really have no idea what to say because I got us there before 10. All I could say is we're going in a loop and wasting time since the argument goes in the same direction and we should focus on being here and moving on for now so we could get her yoga done and revisit it after she's done. I started feeling like a jerk when she wanted my support to get her back in the groove, but would also ask why I was the victim, and I told her that I don't really feel like I did anything wrong since she never specified that this was a critical class and never mentioned that she wanted to be extra early since she had the chance to let me know the night before and right before my walk to give me proper times and expectations. I feel like since I got us there before 10, she's overreacting. I just don't know how to proceed or what to say when I see her later in class and when I come back to pick her up. Mia Meows 44 replied, "I don't know, you had to rush to get there at 9:50. What time would you have gotten there if she hadn't rushed you? If I were nervous about something super important to me, I'd want to be early to set up and center myself. I think you just added extra stress on a day that was already a lot emotionally. Either way, communicating about these kinds of expectations helps. So next time you know to ask how early, and she knows to communicate that to you. Neither is the jerk, unless it keeps happening over and over." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my friend to suck it up when we went to a wedding without alcohol? So back in our college days, we were a group of 4. Me, Ethan, Vivian, and Jayesh. Names are changed. Jayesh was Indian and he had come to our college to study. Actually, me and Jayesh were both foreigners who were here to study. I chose to settle down here. Jayesh came from a very wealthy family. They have a very big jewelry business. From what I learned from Jayesh, he was a native of the state of Rajasthan in India, and people from that state are really famous for being involved in business and are ultra-conservative, very religious, don't consume alcohol and meat, etc. Here's where the story starts. We graduated about 4 years ago, and we're all busy in our lives, but we're still in touch with each other. As mentioned earlier, I too was a foreigner from an Eastern European country, but chose to settle in America. Jayesh went back to India. One day, Jayesh had us all on a call and informed us that he's getting married in India and invited us to the wedding. He offered all of us first-class tickets to and from. The wedding took place in a 5-star hotel, and the festivities lasted for a week. It was literally a free luxury vacation for us. Jayesh informed us beforehand that alcohol and meat-based food won't be available in the wedding, and we had no problem with that. When we arrived in India, we reached the venue. We were overwhelmed. There was different dress code for each time of each day. Tailors available to personally stitch the clothes for the guests, sightseeing tours of the city and whatnot, and Ethan seemed a bit miffed. During the 4th day, when his discontent was getting way more visible, I asked him what the issue was. He said that this wedding feels so crappy without alcohol and food feels incomplete without meat. I told him that he was okay with it when the invitation was made and he can either suck it up and enjoy the wedding, it's not like the food was bad or anything, the food was great, or leave, which made him cranky for the entire trip. When we returned, he told me that it was rude to tell him to suck it up and he was forced to get through a dry wedding for a week. I told him that he was miffed about alcohol and meat amidst all that grand festivities that basically made the wedding a free vacation. There's some serious issue with him and he's acting very ungrateful. Am I the jerk for saying that? Tater Sprout responded, "Not the jerk. He does need to grow up and suck it up. He got a free week's vacation in India. He wasn't banned from alcohol and meat for a week. He could have spent his own money outside the wedding and got those things. It sounds like he behaved like a toddler. Our next story is, am I the jerk for taking over the living room to watch a TV show my husband doesn't like every Friday night? My, female 35, husband, male 35, and I live in a relatively small house with one area to watch TV. We do have an unfinished basement that currently contains an area for working out, an area for doing laundry, and then the rest is storage. For context, I do not work on Fridays, but my husband does. My favorite show is RuPaul's Drag Race, which airs on Friday nights. My husband does not like this show, which is his right, and when I watch it, he feels the need to go in the basement for the entire hour and a half that it's on. It's recently caused a lot of contention in our relationship because he feels that he shouldn't have to be relegated to the basement on Friday nights after he works hard. This is the only show that I watch when it airs, and I don't like to record it and watch it later because I don't want to see the spoilers on social media, which are nearly impossible for me to avoid. I just don't think I'm being unreasonable by wanting to watch one show on one night of the week for an hour and a half. I'm not forcing him to go to the basement. He could easily go into the bedroom instead. Tell me, Reddit, am I the jerk? Emperor Mr. Kitty replied, "Not the jerk. You aren't making him do anything. He's basically telling you that you can't watch it without wanting to actually say it. He can suck it up and play on that phone like even toddlers manage when mom is boring, find a hobby. This is why they exist. I don't know your situation, but Wi-Fi plus Xbox or basic smart TV? Ask for him time as a reciprocation. He can't. Say that you're making him leave if you aren't. Use that falsehood to control you. I can absolutely understand not wanting to watch that show, but any normal person would just go do something else for a little bit. No big deal. Is it because they're effeminate and gay? Our next story is, am I the jerk for accepting an invitation on my husband's behalf that I knew he wouldn't like and refusing to cancel it? My husband is a busy person, but he's not such a busy person that he can't manage invitations from his family and friends if he wanted to. His family and friends act like I'm responsible for his social calendar, which I didn't mind at first because I didn't have anything better to do, but I'm tired of being the one to have to say no to everything, and it sucks having to deal with people trying to convince me to come to things when I know they only really care about my husband attending. I've tried to get them to go to him directly, but he just sends them back my way or ignores them, so they come to me anyway. I've spoken to him multiple times about not wanting to be responsible for our social calendar, and he acts like he gets it, but then never responds to invites, so nothing's changed. So I've done something that you guys may or may not think is petty. My mother-in-law has asked us to join monthly family dinners with her side of the family. I prefer her side of my husband's family, but my husband is closer to his dad's side, so we see them more. Usually, I wouldn't accept an invite like this without checking with my husband, but since she asked him first and he ignored her, I decided to accept on his behalf. The first dinner is on Sunday, which is the day we were also supposed to have dinner with his grandfather on his dad's side, but he never told me that was happening and neither did anyone else. His dad's side have a horrible habit of just assuming we'll be at something because they've told us. Part of me thinks the dinner with his grandfather is a lie because I know he's been avoiding his half-brother like the plague since he keeps asking him for an investment and his step-siblings will be there. My husband told me to cancel, but I don't want to because my mother-in-law was so happy when I said yes. Also, his sister will be there and I haven't seen her in forever. I won't stop him from canceling if he really wants to, but he's turned this situation into a fight because I didn't ask him first, and now I don't want to be the one to cancel. He's basically said if we go to the first one, he expects me to tell my mother-in-law this won't be a regular thing, but I think he should be the one to do that since I have no problem having dinner with them regularly. Am I the jerk? Professor Emeritus responded, not the jerk. Apparently your husband has delegated to you the task of being his calendar secretary. He implicitly sent his mother to you when he didn't respond to his mother. If he doesn't like how you're handling your duties as his calendar secretary, he's free to demote you and reassign those responsibilities. Pooperintendent responded, not the jerk, OP. I came here to say this. Your script is, husband, either I'm in charge of what social invites we accept or reject, or we both are. I'd be so happy if it was both of us, but so long your response to any invitation is either to ignore it, so they contact me instead, or to send them my way. It appears you have made me your calendar secretary by default. You obviously don't have to attend these monthly family dinners, but I'm not going to be in charge of organizing conflicting invitations for my family dinners I would like to go to. If you want to say no, it's your job to say no. Mother-in-law says you ignored her, so she contacted me, and I accepted for both of us. If you want to come up with an excuse for not going, call your mom. I'm not going to. Our next story is, am I the jerk? I rejected my brother-in-law's child being a flower girl. I, 27-year-old female, am getting married this spring to my boyfriend, 26-year-old male. We've been planning our wedding for 2 years now and have been trying to get blessings from both sides of our families, but only my family was supportive of our decision to get married. While receiving racist remarks from my to-be in-laws, they disapproved of us getting married and wanted us to wait a while before settling down. Since we weren't receiving full support, we decided to plan the wedding ourselves and finalize the details like date, venue, catering, etc. We're not and have not asked for any financial support, and they've not asked us if we need help in any aspect of the planning. I also asked a family friend's daughter, 4-year-old female, to be the flower girl after the engagement, and her mom agreed. Fast forward about a year since the flower girl was confirmed. My boyfriend's older brother and his wife recently gave birth to a baby girl. Let's call her Amy. And they have been badgering us about allowing their baby, will be 11 months old by the time of the wedding, my fiance's niece, to be the flower girl. My boyfriend and I pointed out that Amy isn't guaranteed to be able to walk by that time, and Amy's father responded by saying that he could carry her down the aisle. When we initially said no to that idea, as I think it's weird giving the role of a flower girl to a child that won't be able to physically do any of the normal flower girl duties, and it would look ugly having a toddler walk down next to an adult holding a baby, Amy's father and Amy's grandmother kept on badgering us with the same questions. Can Amy be the flower girl? What color theme is your wedding? We'll buy a dress for Amy. Since Amy is our first and only grandchild, it's tradition for our family for her to be a flower girl. Am I the jerk to reject Amy as the flower girl? Here's some context. Amy's father and my boyfriend have 2 other siblings. Amy is currently 7 months old and cannot crawl or sit up unassisted. Amy's father and Amy's grandmother make racist comments about me behind my back. Specialist_point1980 replied, "Pretty sure you and your husband should be no contact with anyone being racist. Is your husband going to allow that racism to be directed at any children you have? Your fiancé should be handling his racist family. They shouldn't even be invited to your wedding. Why would you want a racist there or anyone who bows down to their demands? That's not even factoring in how dumb it would be to have a flower girl who can't even walk yet. Double dumb to have a flower girl be held by her racist father walking down the aisle on your wedding day that you will have photos from. Oh dear husband, look at this photo of the man who's racist to me and his kid from our wedding. Aww. It wouldn't taint the day for me personally. Your fiancé should be the one shutting this down and shutting it all down hard. Otherwise, I'd rethink the marriage, because why is your fiancé okay with his own family being racist to his soon-to-be wife? Not the jerk. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not wanting to go to my coworker's birthday party? Throwaway for privacy. Edit. Update posted at the bottom. So I, 24-year-old female, work at a high school with my coworkers Carrie, 29-year-old female, Leslie, 26-year-old female, and Marissa, 30-year-old female. All of us get along well. We eat lunch together every day, then go out for drinks to de-stress from work. Leslie and Maria are a lot closer to Carrie than I am for context. 2 weeks ago, Carrie made a group chat with our coworkers for her 29th birthday party, but I wasn't included. I didn't know until Leslie asked me what present I was buying for Carrie. When I told Leslie that I didn't know about the party, she asked me if I was arguing with Carrie. Honestly, I wasn't mad about not being invited. Me and Carrie aren't that close, and she can choose whoever she wants as her birthday guest. Leslie told me the date and place of Carrie's party, but I didn't plan to go because I don't want to be rude and come uninvited. Last Saturday was Carrie's birthday. I sent her a happy birthday message and hope that she enjoys her day. Carrie said thank you, and we had a small conversation about her plans. I didn't get an invite from her, so I decided to stay home. On Sunday, I got some text messages from Marissa that went like this. Marissa said, "Hey, why didn't you go to Carrie's birthday party last night?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not in her group chat, so I thought I wasn't invited." And then Marissa said, "Didn't Leslie tell you where it was? You could have shown up." And then I said, "Yeah, but Carrie didn't invite me. I don't want to be rude by coming without her knowing." And Marissa said, "But still, we're coworker besties. You should have asked Carrie if you could go." And then I said, "Well, if Carrie wanted me at her birthday, she would have told me. We talked yesterday morning, and the convo ended there. Today's now Friday, 5 days since then, and the three of them completely avoid me. We used to eat lunch together in the staff lounge, but now they eat in Carrie's classroom. And whenever I pass one of them during morning duty, they just stare and ignore. The past few days were really rough, and I've cried during my lunches because they were my support system since I started teaching. I genuinely thought we were friends, but now I'm just rethinking about everything. Am I the jerk for not going? Update. Earlier today, I sent a message to both Leslie and Marissa telling them how I felt. Leslie left me on read. Marissa sent me this text in verbatim. Okay, is that how you feel? After everything that I did to help you when you were struggling? Don't talk to me at work. Later, Carrie asked if she can call me. According to her, Leslie texted the group chat that I was going, even though I wasn't invited, so Carrie reserved a spot for me at her birthday dinner. When I didn't show up, Carrie took it as me ghosting her. She was upset and told everyone else what happened, hence the silent treatment. I told her that I never got an invite and our previous conversation didn't imply that I was attending. We kept talking for a bit, and in the end, Carrie needed some time to think about the situation. Will I continue being friends with them? No. I'll be cordial, but keeping it strictly work-related. I'll have to find some better friends. Active Excitement 813 responded, "You weren't invited, so you didn't go. And even if you were invited, that doesn't make you a jerk. Be careful though, I think someone is stirring the pot here, and I don't think it's OP." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not helping my sister with her debt after she made bad decisions? I, 29-year-old male, have a younger sister, Sarah, 24-year-old female, who has always been irresponsible with money. Growing up, she'd blow her allowance on random things and never learned to budget or save. I tried to give her advice over the years, but she never listened. Fast forward to a few months ago, when Sarah came to me in tears saying she was drowning in debt. She had credit card bills, personal loans, and even payday loans just to get by. She said she was struggling to pay rent and was about to lose her apartment and car. At first, I wasn't shocked, but was concerned. I told her I'd help her come up with a plan to get out of debt, but I wasn't going to just give her money. She then begged me for a loan, claiming she'd pay me back soon. I told her no, I didn't want to enable her bad financial habits. I offered to sit down with her and create a strategy to pay it off, but she didn't like that response. Now she's asking again, saying the situation is even worse. She claims she's learning from her mistakes, but still wants me to bail her out. Our parents think I'm being too harsh and selfish for not just helping her out this one time. They've always been the ones to step in and cover for her, and I'm the one who's always had to teach her responsibility. But I feel like if I give in now, she'll never learn. I'm torn. I want to help, but I don't think it's my responsibility to fix her financial mess when she hasn't made any real effort to change. Am I the jerk for refusing to give her money? Contemplating Folly responded, "Not the jerk. You've offered to help. If she won't accept it, that's her issue. If parents don't like it, they can help. You could also hook her up with consumer debt counseling so they can negotiate some of her debt down. She might take that better than your help, and they have relationships with credit card companies." Our next story is, would I be the jerk if I don't pay my boyfriend $500 monthly rent to live with him and his parents? Me, female 25, and my boyfriend, male 30, have been in a long-distance relationship for over a year. I've been visiting him often since I work remotely, staying with him and his parents for 1 to 2 months at a time. We're planning to close the distance soon, get engaged by September, move in with him and his parents by October, and get married in December or January. This living arrangement would be temporary, as he plans to get his own place in 2026. I felt good about this plan until he recently told me I'd need to pay him $500 a month to help cover rent to his parents. I earn $1,600 a month, while he makes around $3,000 to $3,500. He currently pays them $700 monthly. This request blindsided me because it never came up in our many conversations about finances and our future. I'd happily pay $500 and more if we were renting our own place, but paying that much to live with him and his parents doesn't sit right with me. He thinks I'm being greedy for feeling uneasy about his request, as he pays for most things in our relationship. I pay for my own expenses basically, plane tickets, personal products, and he pays for dates, activities, etc. Living with his parents already feels like a big adjustment. While they're lovely and the house is beautiful, I don't feel at home there. During my visits, I stay in his room all day working, only leaving to eat or use the bathroom, which is right next to his parents' bedroom. I don't have space for my things, so I live out of a suitcase, and I'm careful to clean up after myself every time. He's also said he expects me to cook dinner once or twice a week when I move permanently. Back home, I pay my dad $200 monthly for rent, have my own bathroom, and feel completely comfortable around my family. Moving abroad is already a huge change, and leaving behind that comfort is hard enough. Paying $500 on top of that feels overwhelming, especially when it's not even my own space. I'm open to contributing less, but $500 feels like too much for what I'm currently making. Would I be the jerk if I refused to pay him that amount? Kuka63 responded, "Not the jerk, but this whole scenario seems very concerning. Engaged in September, move in October, and wedding late in the same year? This is extremely rushed. You have no idea who he really is until you've lived with him for much longer than that. On top of it all, you're moving to another country. Please give your head a wobble. You need to think about this much more. I wish you all the best, whatever you decide." Our next story is, would I be the jerk if I kept my ex's Nintendo account? This is just a quick question really. So I, 17-year-old female, met this guy, 18-year-old male, 2 years ago. We were in the same friend group and we became best friends up until a point where we caught feelings for each other and we started dating sometime later. The thing here is, he had given me his Nintendo account from like the first year we met. And now we're breaking up because he cheated on me. So I know it's kinda silly that I'm worrying about the Nintendo account with what happened, but he had most of the games that I could only dream about having once the Switch came out. But at the same time, I feel quite materialistic and I don't know if I should keep it. Of course, though, if I am to keep it, I would tell him. Similar name 4489 responded, "You're the jerk. He paid for the games, he owns them, and the account. It sounds like he just gave you access to his account. Didn't transfer it to your name or anything like that, so it's not your account. He can just reset it all and boot you off. Frankly, I would drop it like a hot potato, just like his cheating butt, as I wouldn't want him to try and use it to manipulate me or potentially get me in trouble. Like if he tried to say I hacked his account or accessing it without permission and tried to get me banned. It continues a tie and dependency on him, which I would just hate." And with that being said, guys, that is all the time that we have for today. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like or a comment below, and if you want to check out any of our other videos, click the video on the right. With that being said, I will see you all next time.